this time, we're going to think about another genealogy in the Bible. If I were to title it, I just say the two seeds. Let us turn to Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. Genesis 3:15. This is the first messianic prophecy and promise, covenant, messianic covenant that God has given to Adam after he sinned. And God was actually speaking to the woman, and he says, speaking to the serpent, and he said, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on the heel. So he's speaking to the serpent. There will be two seeds. First, the seed of the woman, and the seed of the serpent. Okay? So from Adam, there were two seeds divided. Okay? And Cain, according to Genesis chapter 4, verse 1, and Abel. God gave there were two sons. Let us turn to Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. We know which one was the good one, which one was the bad one, right? Genesis chapter 4, verse 1, however, it says, Now the man had relations with his wife, Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. And she said, I have gotten a man-child with the help of the Lord. Is she right? When she says, I have gotten a man-child, meaning she is hoping that this is the seed of the woman, the promise that she received. Okay. We know the result. It was not the seed that God gave him. But in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 4, we see that Abel was the one with faith. Okay. What was wrong? See, sometimes God promises us something. God makes a promise. And we feel like we fulfill that promise. Just like this verse says. But take a look at who is the subject? Who is doing the work? Now the man had relations with his wife Eve, but she conceived and gave birth to Cain. And she said, I have gotten a child with the help of the Lord. Where's the Lord's action here? Where's God's activity? Sometimes we do things and we claim it. We say, this is God's will. This is what God has given me. But God might say, no, I never gave it to you. You did it. Remember Abraham? God promised him, you will have a son. I'll give you a son. He waited. Did not have a son. And he started thinking, I'm too old. My wife is too old. My wife started thinking, hey, as long as it's your seed, it's okay, right? So have a son through Hagar. He did it. He thought that was the promised son. God says, no, I did not give him to you. We have to think about our life of faith. We sometimes think and we sometimes want something so much that we think it's something that God gave me. But is it really something that God gave? So he learns a lesson. Cain kills Abel. And Cain runs away, or is sent away by the Lord. He loses two sons. Because of what? Because of his own sin. Probably repenting. And then he gives Genesis chapter 4. Verse 25. Genesis chapter 4, verse 25. Adam had relations with his wife again, and she gave birth to a son and named him Seth, for she said, God has appointed me another offspring in the place of Abel, for Cain killed. And so, until God really gives us something, we need to be sometimes patient but faithful. So instead of Abel, God gave Seth. Even when it's here, Satan, always we can see that Satan's trait and Satan's endeavor is to always wipe out the seed, because of Genesis 3:15, God promised that seed of the woman will crush your head. So if you were the serpent, Satan, what would you want to do? Wipe out all the women's seed. Make sure that there's no one crushing my head. Right? So from the beginning until now, Satan's work is to take away that seed. Kill all the seeds, our children, the descendants of the word of the covenant. So right now, Satan is trying to take your children away. Satan is trying to deceive us to give up our faith. Satan tries to put the seed of jealousy, envy, strife, hatred in the church, so that somebody, at least one more seed, will go out. So Cain killed Abel. However, even then, God does not give up. God gives another seed, Seth. And we learned about this genealogy. Seth, 10 generations later, Noah. Noah, 10 generations later, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the way to Jesus. And that's this genealogy, Genesis chapter 5. Tomorrow we'll learn about Genesis chapter 11, which Genesis 5 is from Adam to Noah. Genesis 11 is from Noah to Abraham. Okay? And then Matthew chapter 1 is from Abraham all the way to Jesus. Okay? And from Jesus, how does the genealogy flow? How does the genealogy go on? Who's Jesus' son? Galatians chapter 3, verse 24 and the following. Chapter 3, verse 21 and the following. Romans chapter 4. Those who have the faith of Abraham are children of Christ. Those who believe in Jesus are sons of Abraham. Who needs to continue this genealogy? Amen. We have 3 people that are awake here. We are the ones, the church, have to continue on. What's the last genealogy found in the Bible? In Revelation, the book of life. May your name be recorded in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. If we have a chance, the 3rd book, 4th book, 5th book, continue on with the genealogy of Jesus Christ. And did you know that Jesus was not really 100% Jew? What? What? Is he? Is he a 100% Jew? What about his great mother Ruth? She was a Moabite. What about his above and Rahab? She was a Canaanite. Was Jesus fully 100% Jew? The genealogy was mixed up, right? How does Jesus come? Question, right? Question. Read the Bible. Or wait until next time. So this genealogy continues on. God makes sure that His covenant is given to next generation, next generation. It's like a relay baton. Baton is passed on. And He will not make that baton drop on the ground. It will continue on all the way to the end. I pray that your church, I heard that there are about 50 churches represented here. I pray that all these churches that are represented here will carry that baton. Amen? But there's another genealogy. This is the Genesis chapter 4. We need to ask ourselves, am I in this genealogy or in this genealogy? Say amen if you're in this genealogy. Amen. So not everybody, huh? Say amen if you're in this genealogy. Amen. In this genealogy. King's genealogy. I tricked you there. Should we try one more time? Are you in Cain's genealogy? Are you in Seth's genealogy? Yes. Okay, let us see. Let us check. Okay, so let us turn to Genesis chapter 4, verse 26. Genesis chapter 4, verse 26. It says, to Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then men began to call on the name of the Lord. Seth had Enosh, and during the time of Enosh, remember the name Enosh? What does it mean? Frail, weak. So they realized they cannot live without the Lord and His help. So they began to call upon the name of the Lord. Now, calling upon the name of the Lord, this phrase means they had official worship. Regular worship of God. Service, worship service. They regularly, again and again, every week, every day, came to worship together. So this genealogy began with worshiping God. And this genealogy, look at all these people. They are all builders of God's church. They are all known for worshiping God. What is this genealogy known for? Cain's genealogy in Genesis chapter 4 begins by Cain departing from going away from the Lord. See, this genealogy begins by worshiping the Lord. This genealogy begins by going away from the Lord. Right? This genealogy, God remembers all the years and names when they had the next generation, how long they lived. This genealogy, let us check. God does not even care to write down all those years. Genesis chapter 4, verse 17. Verse 16, Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. This is only the same name, not the same person. And he built a city and called the name of the city Enoch, after the name of his son. Now, to Enoch was born Irad. Irad became the father of Mehujael. Mehujael became the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Lamech took to himself 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other, Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock, and his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the lyre and pipe. As for Zillah, she also gave birth to Tubal-Cain, the forger of all implements of bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, listen to my voice, you wives of Lamech. Who's the one to be glorified here? Lamech is glorifying himself. Give heed to him, to my speech, for I have killed a man for murdering me. This is his pride. Somebody wounded him, so he killed him. Okay? And a boy for striking me. He killed a little boy for striking him. And he comes home, and he's boasting about what he did to his wives. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77. Look at this. This shows us something that is similar to the world that we're living in today. But Cain's descendant Lamech had three sons and a daughter. Jabal, Jubal, and Tubal-Cain, and Naaman. Jabal was the father. What was Jabal's job? He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. Right? When you say father of something, what does that mean? The beginner or the best. Father of computers, who is that? Bill Gates. Father of Apple. Steve Jobs. Father of classical music. I don't know, Beethoven, Mozart. Yeah? So when you say father of something, he's the best at it. He's the beginner. So father of those who have livestock. During that time, livestock is economy. Father of those who have livestock. Jabal was like Bill Gates of the time. Jabal was the father of all the economy during that time. What about Jubal? Father of Jubal, he was the father of all those who played the lyre and pipe. What is that? Instrument. Entertainment industry. K-pop. BTS. Hollywood. Movie. Cinema. You know? Okay, music. Tubal-Cain. Father of, who's Tubal-Cain? Father of those who, forger of all implements of bronze and iron. What did they make with bronze and iron? Weapon. Okay? Weaponry. Wow. Three big things that rule the world today. So, if you want to have a son, which son would you want to have? Jabal? Jubal? Or if you're young enough, which one would you like? This? Power of money. This? Power of fame and popularity. A lot of people are practicing, what do you call those? Idol group, boy group, girl group dances nowadays. And dancing is not bad, but what's the purpose? Then, power. Which one is the most powerful? Which one would you like to have? This is what everybody in this world wants to have. Weapon? Right now, if you have weapon, you can take everything else. Or if you have money, you can buy everything else. Or if you have fame, you can. Which one? But Cain's genealogy had all three. What do these people look like in front of them? What do these people look like? Every time they have time, they go to church to worship. Every time they have money, they go to church and give offering. They're the ones who give all their time, all their money in building church. Church construction. No, think about Noah's daughters-in-law. They got married, and the father-in-law says, you have to work. And until the ark was finished, they could not even have children. Imagine your daughter gets married to a crazy old man's family and has to go work every single day. Cannot even have a child. Versus your daughter gets married to, your boy gets married to, or, come on. You're trying to not make any face because I'm holy. I don't want all this. I don't want all this. No. Really? And Nama, it means jingle, 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 jingle. You know, Nama means like a bell sound. In the Hebrew, it has a connotation of trying to seduce, lure somebody. Right? Like in prostitution. Right? So these are the four representing ideas, ideologies, hungers, and thirsts of this world. And from their perspective, these people are too boring. They only worship. If we use our musical talent, if we use our blessings from God in finances, if we use the power that God has given us to do God's work and to worship, that's the best. So I pray that God will bless you in all these three things for His purpose and His glory. But if we saw, they were glorifying themselves with this. And so this genealogy comes to a sudden end without any warning. This genealogy comes to a sudden end. Why? The flood. The flood came. And the world may be so powerful right now, but it will suddenly come to an end. But this genealogy continues on. However, Satan is so conniving, so crafty, and Satan is also working through the spiritual world. So even if the physical lineage got cut off, he continues through ideologies, marriage. You know, you have to be careful about getting yourself married or getting your children married. Right? I've seen many people who are so fervent in church, got married to the wrong person, and they lost faith. I pray that young people, Jabal, Jubal, Tubal, Cain is good in the world, but don't get married to them. Get married to Enosh. Amen? I heard no amen here. I think they still like Jabal, Jubal, Tubal, Cain. Through marriage and through lifestyle. So we'll see that. We'll see how Satan continues his seed. Okay? So this case genealogy is cut off. However, remember Noah has 3 sons. And among the sons of Noah, we have Ham. Okay? Shem continued here, Shem. But Ham, huh? So Ham, Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. Let us turn to Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. He had 4 sons. The sons of Ham were Cush and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. Okay? Ham had 4 sons. Ham had how many sons?
4.
Cush, Mizraim. Who else? Canaan. Put and Canaan. Put. And Canaan. Cush. Later in verse 9, verse 8, Cush became the father of Nimrod. Okay. Do you know Nimrod? Mizraim is another word, another name for Egypt. Mizraim is Egypt. Canaan became the father of the Canaanites. Right? In the biblical Old Testament context, Egypt and Canaan, do you remember? Were they good people, bad people? People who tried to annihilate, people who tried to get rid of the Israelites. Right? Let us think about Nimrod first. Nimrod. Verse 9. Chapter 10, verse 9. Nimrod, verse 8. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He became a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. Though my Bible says before the Lord, but in the original language it means against the Lord. He was a mighty hunter against the Lord. During that time, there were many wild animals, big animals, and without these hunter, people would be devoured or be hurt by these animals. And so this mighty hunter, Nimrod, was the protector of those people, and so he was a hero. He was a hero by the people, but when people become hero under God and used by God, like David, God is glorified. But people, mighty hunters against the Lord, they glorify themselves. And so this Nimrod later becomes, verse 10, the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. So Nimrod becomes the father, or the man, central figure that builds the Tower of Babel. What is the lifestyle, ideology and lifestyle of the Tower of Babel? Tower of Babel, they were building the Tower of Babel to reach God. They were saying, we want to reach God. We are religious. We want to worship God. It was like a huge shrine. But rather than depending on God and truly worshiping God, they were doing it with their own strength, with their own might, with their own motivation, with their own agenda. I pray that our churches will not be built for that, with that purpose. But they said, we are going to reach out to God, rather than God, please come to us. I am going to reach out to God. And also another mindset is, they want to live according to their own ways, commit sin, and they want to call it, they want to commit sin but don't want to call it sin. The Bible says it's not right, but they want to say it's okay. Do you see that happening today in this world? And then what they say, what they believe is, what if God decides to judge us again? So they make God look like a bad God. What if God decides to punish us again? Although we are not doing something so bad. Because, God is wrathful. God might feel like He wants to judge this world again. then we need to prepare. So they said, if God sends that flood again, we have to live. Right? How do we live? Build a tower high enough so that we can survive the flood next time God judges. Rather than repenting and living according to the ways of God, they want to do their own thing, but still avoid judgment. Is that the kind of life that we are trying to live today? We want to continue in sin, but we don't want judgment. So we try to find other ways to avoid that. We find other ways to argue against it. That's the kind of lifestyle they were living. But they did not read the Bible. They did not know the word. God said to Noah, I will not judge the world with water again. So through this ideology and lifestyle, that spirit was transferred. What did these people try to do in Egypt? Pharaoh tried to kill all the Jewish boys. Wipe out the seed, the promised seed, from continuing on. Canaan tried to kill all the Jews, the Israelites. And then Abraham also, how many sons did Abraham have? How many says one? How many says two? Two? How many says three? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. You don't know? Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. Wow. Read the Bible. Read the Bible. Come on. Okay, who are the first two sons Abraham had? Ishmael. Later he has a wife Keturah and he has 6 sons. Abraham had Isaac here, but he also had Ishmael. Let us turn to Genesis chapter 21 verse 1. Genesis chapter 21 verse 1. I'm sorry, verse 9. Genesis chapter 21, verse 9. Okay. Now Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had born to Abraham. Okay. So Ishmael's mom, Hagar, was Egyptian, descendant of Israel. Okay. So it's not a marriage, but Abraham had relations he connected with the children of the one in sin. Okay? And had Ishmael. Verse 21. 21. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. So Ishmael married Egyptian girl. Genesis chapter 16, I believe, says that Ishmael was like a wild donkey. You know what wild donkey means in the Hebrew understanding? Wild donkey means someone that goes out according to their drive, fleshly drive. Someone who follows around their sexual drives. Who goes out. People who cannot control. People who cannot live a godly life. So he's connected to Israel. through marriage. And then Isaac has Jacob, but he has twins, right? Who's Jacob's brother? Esau. Genesis chapter 36, verse 2 and 3. Genesis chapter 36, verses 2 and 3. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, and the granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. Okay, so Esau gets married to Canaan's daughter, two daughters, right? And then, verse 3, also Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of... So, Ishmael and Esau is connected. Do you see? What is Satan doing? He connected these three families and made them one through Esau. Right? Through marriage. Through different ideologies. They're the ones that do not like these people. They're the ones that feel victimized by God. They're the ones that are controlled without themselves knowing maybe. They're controlled by Satan to wipe out. You know who's Esau's descendant? It says Esau the Edomite. Verse 1, Genesis chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the records of the generations of Esau, that is Edom. Also, through one of the Canaanite wives, he has a son named, he's become Amalek. What did the Amalekites try to do when the Israelites were making their way to Canaan? It's the Amalekites that tried to destroy them, right? And 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 1 and the following tells us the royal family of the Amalekites are named Agag. Have you heard of the Agagites? Agag? And later in Esther chapter 3 verse 1, shall we turn to Esther chapter 3 verse 1? Before that, Genesis 36. Genesis 36. Verse 12. Timnah was a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. So Esau's son gave birth to Amalek, right? Let's turn to Esther chapter 3 verse 1. Esther. Chapter 3 verse 1. After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. Haman, remember the guy that tried to, what did he try to do during the time of Esther? He tried to wipe away all the Jews, right? That's Agagite. Okay? From here. From Agag comes Haman. Right? The serpent's seed. Right? What does the serpent's seed try to do? Wipe out. Always try to wipe out. What did God tell King Saul to do when he was fighting against Amalek? Wipe them out. What did King Saul do? King Saul did not do right. He did not kill the Agagite king. Right? What? And people say, how God is so mean, so bad God. Why kill all the babies and all those innocent people? Are they innocent? God knows if He lets them alive, later He will try to kill all of God's people. Right? So if we don't know this genealogy, we don't know the background story, we cannot understand what God is really doing. And guess what? Edomites, right? Who are the Edomites? Edomites were living around Israel, right? Later, during the time of, close to the time of Jesus, they become Idumeans. Idumeans. And from Idumeans comes Herod. Herod was an Idumean. What did he try to do when Jesus was born? He tried to wipe out all the boys, all the seed. Right? Herod. Satan is continuing on to sow his own seed. God is continuing his seed of the covenant. Remember the blessing and covenant God gave to Esau and Jacob? Who's going to rule over whom? Remember Jacob deceives Esau or buys his birthright through stew, right? Red lentil soup, right? And then he takes the blessing of Isaac. What's one of the main blessings that Isaac gives to Jacob? You will rule over your brother. Esau later comes crying, Dad, you've been deceived. I am Esau. Do you have any blessing left? Esau says, okay, I'll bless you. Your brother will rule over you. But here, look at here. Herod and the Israelites. During the time of Herod, who's ruling over whom? Herod is from Esau. The Israelites were from Jacob. Is Esau ruling over Jacob, or is Jacob ruling over Esau? Esau ruling over Jacob. The history has untwisted. Satan is trying to turn that history around. That's why Jesus came and turned it back. Today, which seed are you? Are you seeking for Jabal, Jubal, Dubal, Cain? Which seed are we trying to become? Right? Are we following this seed lineage, or are we following here? Sorry, Bishop, you were saying.
I think the Arabs and the Muslims, they are claiming that they are from Ismail.
Yes, they're claiming that they're from Ishmael. They claim that Isaac sacrificed Ishmael on Mount Moriah instead of Isaac. They switched that around. But which is the right genealogy? Okay. So, what about today? Let us turn to Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. Matthew 13, 24. Jesus presented another parable to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. Right? Sowed good seed in his field. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went away. But when the wheat sprouted and bore grain, then the tares became evident also. So they're growing together, the two seeds. The slaves of the landowner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? We ask the same question. God, your children are supposed to be good, but how come there are bad ones in this world? It's the Satan that sowed the wrong seed. Verse 28, and he said to them, an enemy has done this. The slave said to him, do you want us then to go and gather them up? Meaning, do you want us to pull up the wheat, the tares? But he said, no. For while you are gathering up the tares, you may uproot the wheat with them. Allow both to grow together until the harvest. When is the harvest? The judgment day. Until the harvest, let them grow together. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, first gather up the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them up, but gather the wheat into my barn. So we are growing together. And then in the same chapter, later in verse 47, verse 47, let us read that also. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet, like a net, cast into the sea, and gathering fish of every kind. And when it was filled, they drew it up on the beach, and they sat down and gathered the good fish into the containers, but the bad fish, they threw away. So it will be at the end of the age, the angels will come forth and take out the wicked from among the righteous. This net represents the church. And within that net, there's good, and among the good, there's the wicked. See, the sea is the world. Net is the church. It gathers up fish. There's other fish that are not gathered up in the net. You think in the net, there should only be good fish. In the church, there should only be good people. Good seed. But God is saying, no. It can be mixed up. In the end, the Lord will come. The angels will come and pick them out. May you and I not be the ones that are picked out and thrown away. But we don't know. So, in order for us to become the good seed, we have to receive that good seed. That good seed is Jesus Christ, the Lord. So once again, I pray and bless you in the name of the Lord, that we may not seek for the joys and pleasures of this world, but may we seek for the Word. Last, before we close, Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8. Verse 4. Romans chapter 8 verse 4. So that the requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For those who are according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh. See? The things of the flesh, their minds are set. But those who are according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For the mindset of the flesh is death, but the mindset of the Spirit is life and peace. Because the mindset of the flesh is hostile toward God, for it does not subject itself to the law of God, for it is not even able to do so. And those who are in the flesh cannot please God. However, you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. But if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to you. I pray that you and we all have the Spirit of God. Amen. And verse 19, verse 18, for I consider the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us. This genealogy, this lineage might seem like it's boring, it's hard, persecuted, go through sufferings, but the glory that is to come cannot be compared to Jabal Jubal Tubal King. Nothing. The glory that is to come to you who want to worship God. You who become true sons of God. Here, lastly, verse 19. For the anxious longing of the creation, this creation in this fallen world, waits eagerly for the revealing of the sons of God, the seeds of God. You need to be revealed, right? We need to go out and say, here it is, here we are, children of God, seeds of God. And we need to spread that seed. How do we spread that seed? Not with our blood, not with sexual activities, like some other heretical religions do, but through the Word of God. Evangelism. May you all become evangelizers, evangelists, preachers of this good news. Amen. At this time, let us quietly come to the Lord. Before I finish with prayer, let us meditate upon the Lord and ask ourselves, am I really, which way is my direction headed? Which way am I trying to go? Am I attracted by Cain's genealogy? All the fun, pleasures, and the enjoyments of Cain's genealogy? Or am I really set? Have I steadfast in the genealogy of God's seed? And let us take time to repent also. If we have put our minds in the fleshly things. And let us quietly come to the Lord.